The coronavirus pandemic remains ongoing in India for 2 years now. Along with efficacious vaccines coming out, multiple infectious variants have also come out. In fact, just when things were finally looking up, a highly mutated and fast replicating variant, Omicron, first detected in South Africa, cropped up. Since then, cases have been on the rise once more, and India faces a third wave. 2 years on and still entrenched in a massive surge of the pandemic, where does India stand? What have we understood about the virus? Today, are we better prepared to fight the pandemic and defeat it once and for all? Here's what you need to know. The development of effective vaccines in less than a year will most definitely go down in history as one of science's best achievements. With over 20 vaccines approved globally and approximately 9.3 billion doses administered, this is the biggest vaccination drive in the world so far. Many rich countries have over 80% of their populations fully vaccinated. But with that being said, the poorer nations remain behind. In some poor countries, 80% of the population still remains unvaccinated. Besides low vaccination rates, these nations also face high infection rates and poor infrastructure and facilities. Consequently, more infectious mutants spread. With the recent waves of the infectious Delta and now Omicron variants, governments in many countries now need to answer questions, including when children should be vaccinated, whether to take the booster shot, and whether restrictions are the best way to curb spreads. Speaking of children taking the vaccine, there's good news on that front. Multiple vaccines have proven to be safe for children to take and approved by regulators globally. Getting kids vaccinated has become an essential part of immunization programs, not only in the Western Hemisphere, but also in the Middle East as well as in Southeast Asia. Cuba has already vaccinated all children above the age of 2. China has vaccinated all children above the age of 3, and India has begun vaccinating children aged 15 and up. Vaccinating children is important not just for controlling the pandemic, but also for reopening schools. In terms of the booster debate, the question is whether booster doses are required for those who are already fully vaccinated. This is actually not really a debate. A booster shot is beneficial and science proves it. Multiple studies clearly show that levels of protective antibodies decline significantly within 6 to 9 months, and more so in the elderly and the immune compromised. Once these protective antibodies decline, individuals are at risk of reinfection and severe disease. Now, while other forms of immunity, including your body's response like T-cell immunity, might help you out, the only measurable variable of the protection against severe disease is neutralizing antibodies. There's more to this. While Delta and Omicron evade immunity, all vaccines currently in use have remained effective against severe disease and death. This is why, despite surging numbers of Omicron in India, you aren't seeing something as severe as India's scary wave 2. Many developed nations have been given booster doses for some time now, starting as early as August 2021. Boosters are now mandatory in multiple nations as well. Israel has already begun tests for a 4th dose for frontline health and emergency workers. India has also started its booster vaccination program. In terms of the evolving virus, data from multiple sources suggests that Omicron infections range from mild to moderate in most cases. However, the massive spread of Omicron is likely to place health systems under huge stress all over the world. You should not, I repeat, should not be under the impression that the Omicron infection is similar to the common cold. In fact, the nation is preparing to meet the most intense wave of the pandemic yet. The coronavirus pandemic isn't over just because you're over it. With that being said, we are better prepared than what we were 1 year ago. The unavailability of vaccines in developing countries will soon not be a problem, as several new protein-based injections that are safe, cheap, stable, and easy to produce on a large scale will be available soon. India will likely be a key player in this, as millions of these vaccine doses will be produced right here at home. These vaccines are also great booster vaccines, and the approval of 2 therapeutic pills will also be available at an affordable cost in India soon. The main question is, how long? How long will this virus last? How else will this virus evolve? When will this pandemic be over? Omicron, which is more transmissible than Delta, seems to cause milder disease and significantly fewer hospital cases. If this trend holds, although we will see huge waves like the one we are seeing now in multiple countries, this could be the beginning of the end of the coronavirus pandemic. Keep in mind, it is just the beginning of the end, so it's important to still be cautious and not have a false sense of security. We're seeing combinations of mutations coming together. Delmicron, an example of that. This is a combination of Delta and Omicron variants. The key to this is to get vaccinated. If people remain unvaccinated, the virus will find ways to evolve to counter human efforts, which counter the pandemic, and we'll be back at square one. If you are vaccinated, it is also important to remain safe and keep the following safety protocols for COVID-19, including adhering to lockdown rules, following social distancing, masking up, and washing your hands frequently and thoroughly. Please share this video with people who need to see it. Thanks for watching News 9. I'll see you next time. Until then, this is Priyanka signing off. Namaste.